Hello everyone, Mr. Happy here, and in this video I want to briefly go over patch 3.25's patch notes. In this patch we have additions and balances to the Feast, Chocobo Racing, a new extension of the Animal Weapon questline, as well as various other changes. So, let's get right into it, shall we? I've already read these over briefly once, so let's get into it. First of all, the next animal weapon has been added. You'll see this later, but the item level of it is item level 230. Just remember, you cannot manually change the stats just yet. That feature won't come until 3.3. You need to have your I-210 weapon first, and then you can go get the quest Finding Your Voice. Also, there was no mention of any sort of nerfs to the previous Zeta quest. We can expect those as well in patch 3.3. So then we have some other changes. Grand companies, the initial cost of getting your Chocobo, the issuance that you need is down to 200 Grand Company seals, down from 2,000, which is significant. There's also going to be some changes to the Orchestrion, the addition of Chocobo challenge races in the Gold Saucer. Seems like they're taking a lesson from Lords of Verminion. The one successful thing about Lords of Verminion, and that they learn, is that people love the challenge modes. And in Chocobo Racing, it's very likely that people will try to grind these out. Meaning Chocobo Racing should actually be pretty populated for a little while at least. There are 15 challenge races altogether, and in order to actually obtain victory and defeat the challenges, you just need to defeat the special NPCs that appear during the challenge. There are other players, there are other NPCs, but your goal is to beat the special NPC. That is the end goal of the match. There are 15 races, each of them increasing in difficulty, meaning your Chocobo will need to be bred and raised in order to actually defeat all 15 races. On top of that, there's a specific course for each of them and a giant MGP reward. Over 400,000 MGP is obtainable by completing all 15 of these races, and I know to a lot of you, that is pretty significant. On top of that, there were some changes to the challenge log, some additions to the MGP gained from it, but we'll talk about those later. There are going to be special opponents that have special abilities in each of these matches, and you'll be able to identify them with a little thing next to their name. On top of that, a bunch of new abilities have been added: Choco Drain, Mimic, Choco Re-Raise, Super Sprint. All these things are going to be able to be used in order to make Chocobo Racing a little bit more exciting. Also, there's some new race items: the Stamina Swapper, which will exchange stamina with another Chocobo that you target, and Spider Web, which renders the Chocobo running immediately behind you unable to use items. On top of that, they increase the amount of Chocobo EXP you gain, the strength of NPCs has been reduced, number of obstacles during the races have been reduced, and the positioning of them has been changed. When more than 2 players are registered for a race, bonus experience proportional to the number of participants will be added to the reward, which is good because it encourages people to actually play against other people. The amount of experience in MGP has been increased based on the length of the course. The race item stamina tablet has seen a little bit of a buff, where it'll actually give you stamina if you're at 0. And then on top of that, there's new flying text for different types of messages, including Chocobo Reflect and when other abilities or items fail to activate. There's also going to be treasure boxes on the map and mini-map in order to designate when you know you'll be able to pick something coming up. They've also changed some of the designs and UI elements in order to make them a little bit more visible. They've also drastically reduced the price of Chocobo training manuals, trying to make it a little bit more accessible to power up your Chocobo to get through those challenge races. On top of that, they have added items to the attack and feed trader in Chocobo Square, including the grade 1 feeds for speed, acceleration, balance, endurance, and stamina. They also have increased the MGP rewards for Lords of Verminion Chocobo races, gates, and all of the minigames. On top of that, they now have highly increased the amount of MGP you get from the challenge log for the Manderville Gold Saucer. You used to get whatever that adds up to up there. It's like 20,000 something. Now you can get over 60,000 MGP a week just from doing your Manderville Gold Saucer challenge logs, including Lords of Verminion playing it 10 times a week, 10,000 MGP. Pretty significant. Now, that's it for the Manderville Gold Saucer. But in preparation of Season 1 of the Feast, they've started to make a few other changes in the menus and the balances. Now, I don't completely agree with what I see here. We have this view rankings, which will actually take you to a page on the lodestone where you can actually check out all of people's characters, all of your own character stats for PvP. And then we have a few PvP action adjustments, and I honestly was very surprised by what I saw here. Monk got buffed. I'm sorry, what? Monk had Somersault's potency increase from 180 to 200, its default recast speed lowered to a minute, and the enhanced speed reduced to 40 seconds. I understand Dragoon has really good burst with Machinist and Bard, but really? Really? Did Monks really need that extra 20 potency? Did they really need that to be on a shorter cooldown? Bard got buffed. Between the Eyes is real strong, and I'm guessing they buffed Farshot to be more like it. Okay, I've been wrecked enough by far shot to know that I don't want to get hit by a 240 potency far shot. Jesus Christ. Rogue and Ninja. I couldn't wait to see what buffs they did for this. You know what they did? Overwhelm. Recast time has been reduced down to a minute by default, and the buffed version is 40 seconds. Ill Wind had it reduced to 2 minutes, and then you can reduce it down to 90 seconds with the enhanced version. Let me tell you what the problem is with this. You know what? Why Ninja has trouble in the Feast compared to the other two melee? Monk has a fucking 6-second AoE pacify that grants 3 stacks of Grease Lightning and deals a shit ton of damage. Excuse my language. They have Somersault Kick, which just got buffed, which, if I'm not mistaken, is the one that reduces casting speed. They have Fetter Ward, which allows them to ignore stuns, slows, heavies, and sleeps for 12 seconds. That is why that job is better. Dragoon, pretty similar situation. Detect and Malm Sight suck. So I don't think this will be the only change they make to Ninja. Because honestly, while it's really nice to have a 40-second gap closer, it's still... I'd still take a Monk or a Dragoon over a Ninja. Easily. And Stealth still sucks. And Dark Knight, they increase the damage they deal, recast times, enhanced tar pits even less, enhanced tar pits potency. They just reduced recast times. Again, I still don't think that makes Dark Knight on par with Warrior or Paladin. Sure, it gives them a little bit more burst, which gets them closer to the state of Warrior. I don't think it'll be enough. We'll have to see the final results when we get to the 240 potency tar pits and the 90-second Carnal Chills, which are pretty annoying. They also made a few other adjustments to make the matches quicker. Winning conditions for 8v8s down by 100 medals. You'll automatically respawn after 3 seconds of being incapacitated. And the invincibility you get after you raise back at the base is up to 12 seconds from 10. On top of that, the Adrenaline supply box had its HP reduced. Now, they made some changes to 4-on-4 and 8v8 supply boxes as well. In 4v4, additional offense kits will appear on the field after a certain period of time, but at the same time, only one defense kit will appear on the field over the course of the entire match. So that one defense kit, very important. I guess they just don't want people snowballing and just, oh, hey, stick this on the healer, stick this on the range, get the next one, stick it on the range, stick it on the healer. Whatever, they just don't want people having as much defense as they do offense. And on top of that, in 8v8, there's just more of them at the start and more of them throughout the game. On top of that, they removed some of the barriers in the middle of the arena. They changed the way that ranking increases and decreases. They also changed the PvP rating required to participate in promo qualifiers, just to make it sound like you actually rank up faster. Display name settings for the Feast have been introduced so that you're able to do things like abbreviations for the class or job of allies or enemy players will now appear next to the nameplate. So that way you can see what job it is that people actually are. And on top of that, you can actually change it so it's just initials or it's their full name or whatever the hell you want to see when you're PvPing. They also made it so that in Light Party, regardless of the language that you pick, you will be put up against everyone in every language barrier, which means that you can't just win trade over on like the French list or something like that. It's a good step against win trading. We'll see how well it works. On top of that, they buffed the Echo in Gordius Savage, and they also changed the shortcut entrance in Fist of the Sun Savage for Midas. There's a bunch of new items. We already spoke about the new animal weapons being item level 230. You can convert a bunch of new materia to gear to materia. Some items have their gender lock released, and then on top of that, there are some grade 2 items that you get more of when you craft the grade 2 speed blends and acceleration blends and whatnot. On top of that, I'm assuming this barding, right here, is still is for beating the first 15 Chocobo Challenge races, and it says complete the first 15 Chocobo Challenge races. This leads us to believe there will be more in the future. It'd be pretty hard to come to any other conclusion. And on top of that, Hyper Animaniac is the name of the next animal weapon related achievement. On top of that, they changed the requirement for new adventurer status. It used to be if you had less than 40 hours, great, you're a new adventurer. Now it's if you have less than 168 hours, which is like over 4 times more, and you have yet to complete the main scenario quest before the dawn. If you're somebody who falls between 40 and 168 hours and you haven't beaten before the dawn yet, you can actually type /NA status on. Apparently, instead of new adventure, it means North America, NA less than EU apparently. Not according to World First rankings. Anyway, now that we've brought that drama to this, they made some changes to the Novice Network. I could care less, because it's still probably going to be full of trolls and people booting people and RMT getting invited. This isn't going to help fix the issues. It's nice that they have things. You don't have to auto-join, and it lets you know when new players are actually added to the Novice Network, and there's different log messages for mentors and new adventurers, but Will it really make a difference? I don't know. On some of the servers, it's gotten better. On some of the more populated servers, still very troll. But I've actually have seen an increase in productivity with the novice network now that the trolls are kind of being weaned out a little bit. On top of that, there's a bunch of, known issues, fixed issues, things like that. And then here are the new items, item level 230. There's also replica anima weapons for the I-210 ones. They're I-150 equivalents of the I-210 ones. They're just for glamour. Just so if you get rid of your anima weapon now, you can still maintain its old glamour without having to wait months for them to implement it later. On top of that, there's new Chocobo training manuals for you to use in order to learn certain things like Chocobo Drain and Featherfield and all this other stuff that they added. There's also the race barding for completing the 15, as well as Ether Oil, which is without a doubt part of the Anima Weapon quest. If I had to guess, the servers are not live, so this is speculation. I'm going to guess this is the light gathering step, but we have no notice. Also, there's going to be a Bennu mount available for from the Mog Station starting March 30th. That is probably a zoo mount, but buyable off the Mog Station. I'll probably give a few away or something, just to, give it its inaugural hello. But anyway, that's it for patch 3.25. Let me know what you think about the PvP changes that came in patch 3.25, as well as the changes to Chocobo Racing, which are quite severe. What do you think about getting no nerfs to the Anima Weapon questline? I said Zeta before, my bad. I said Zeta before. That got, trust me, that's been plenty nerfed. Yeah, tell me what you think about the Anima Weapon not getting nerfs yet. Are you going to be doing the next step of the Anima Weapon questline to bring it up to I-230, or are you just going to hold out for your lore weapons? Let me know in the comment section of the video below. Be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and share, and stay tuned for more Final Fantasy XIV videos, as well as some other stuff on my channel. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next one, and until then, take care.